Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our 2011 Atlantic Coast Conference preview. Now we're going to take a look at the ACC top to bottom, but let's start with the recruiting trail and see how well these teams recruited this past offseason. Best recruiting class, you have to give it to the Florida State Seminoles. They had the best recruiting class in the country. One of the headliners is defensive back Carlos Williams. Should see some time, but I'm going to spotlight James Wilder Jr. because I'm a former running back and I like running backs. He is a guy that's going to be a stud. Might end up seeing a lot of carries this season. 6'2", 220 pounds, should be a future star in that backfield. Will remind some a lot of Sean Jackson that tore up the ACC, tore up the Independents back in the early 90s. Key recruits in the ACC. You look at Boston College getting defensive back Albert Lewis Jean. This guy also doubles as a wide receiver. Outstanding hands, which should make him an outstanding defensive back. Clemson was able to get two of the top linebackers, but Stephon Anthony is a guy I like a lot because of his pass coverage and his ability to make plays downhill. Duke was able to get one of the top wide receivers. Blair Holly is a guy that has a lot of speed, brings a lot of size to the position, and he already has great hands. Now you look at the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets getting bad lead. This guy is going to be outstanding. May even see some time if Tevin Washington struggles as a true freshman. Now Maryland was able to get a smooth defensive back in Jeremiah Handy. This guy has a lot of ball skills and also has the size that you want at that position. Miami was able to get an athletic defensive end in Anthony Chiquilo. This guy right there, you see him sniff out that screenplay, should be a force on that defensive line. North Carolina State got a quarterback that I really like in Brian Taylor, a guy that has superior arm strength, but also has the mobility to get outside the pocket. North Carolina got a talented linebacker in Travis Hughes. You see right here, he also doubled as a running back, and you know how North Carolina loves to get those dual athletic type of guys. Virginia was able to get a defensive back in Demetrius Nicholson. This guy has kickoff return and punt return ability and should help out the Cavaliers very early on. Virginia Tech got an outstanding tight end prospect in Darius Redmond. This guy should be a matchup problem for any linebacker in the country. Wake Forest got a guy that I really like as well, Kevin Southside, quarterback. You may even see him a lot this season as a true freshman, that type of talent. Let's go through some ACC superlatives. Starting with the best quarterbacks, you have to go with the Maryland Terrapins. Quarterback Danny O'Brien has got 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a reason why the Terrapins are favored this season. Best running backs in the ACC, you got to go with Boston College. These guys have the talented tailback in Montel Harris, but also has a guy in Andre Williams, showed a lot last season in Harris' absence. Best wide receiving core, I'm going with the North Carolina Tar Heels. You look at guys like Jerani Boyd, Dwight Jones, Eric Highsmith. Those guys are very impressive, very solid guys, and all have great run after the catch ability. Best offensive line, I'm going with the Virginia Tech Hokies, Andrew Lehner and Greg Nozel, number 75. These guys are going to anchor a solid offensive line that's going to open a lot of holes for talented tailback David Wilson. Best D-line, I have to give it to the Florida State Seminoles. These guys can really bring the pressure. Jacoby McDaniel, Brandon Jenkins, Anthony McLeod, Everett Dawkins. These guys are solid up front. They cause a lot of havoc each and every week for opposing offenses and should do the same this season. Best linebacking core, you have to go with Boston College. Two guys stand out, Luke Kuechly and also Kevin Pierre-Louis. These guys are all over the field. Kuechly is a guy that has a lot of size, 6'3", 235, very amazing tackler. Best defensive backs, you got to go to DBU, and that's Florida State. You look at guys like Greg Reed, Xavier Rhodes, and even the back end with Terrence Parks and Nick Moody. And you bring in a freshman like Carlos Williams. These guys are probably one of the best secondaries in the country. Best special teams unit is not Virginia Tech. It's Florida State because they have one of the more explosive returners in Gregory in the country. But they have a solid kicking game in punter Sean Powell and place kicker Dustin Hopkins. These guys are very talented, and there's a reason why those coverage units are outstanding for the Seminoles. Offensive MVP, I'm going with Florida State's quarterback E.J. Manuel. This guy just looks comfortable in the pocket. He has the arm strength and he has that athleticism to get outside the pocket and make plays with his legs. The offense just looks a lot better with him at the helm, and he should do wonders this season. Defensive MVP, I'm going with Boston College's Luke Kuechly. Again, this guy over 180 tackles last season, and there's no reason why he shouldn't build on that number this year. Freshman of the year, I'm going with Clemson's wide receiver Sammy Watkins. He's going to get the opportunity to make a lot of plays, brings a lot of speed to the position, is going to help bolster that receiving core for the Tigers. Best pro prospect, I'm going with North Carolina defensive lineman Quentin Coples. This guy could have came out last year. Very solid up front. Can get to the quarterback. He can play in or tackle. And that versatility is what the NFL scouts love. Team on the rise. I'm going with the Maryland Terrapins. That was a great hire, getting Randy Edsall. He's going to do a great job of adding to the program, adding to the legacy that Ralph Friedgen built. And there's a lot of talent already on that squad. Toughest schedule in the ACC. I'm going to go with the Miami Hurricanes. You look at this schedule, a lot of big names. They start off with a big game against Maryland on the road. That's a tough team. Ohio State, they play without those stars, but they also got to go to Virginia Tech and UNC. That's a tough slate for a team like Miami. Now, predictions in the ACC. Starting in the Atlantic Division, Wake Forest I have finishing 6th. Reasons for optimism: solid core of wide receivers. They have a veteran group of wide receivers, and their linebackers are fast and active. Now, cause for concerns: they're very light up front, so they're going to give a little bit in the run game. And there's a new quarterback in the fold. How well can they do at that position? That's the most important spot on the field. But what we will learn is that Wake Forest will get back to being a competitive football team. Next up is the Boston College Eagles. Reasons for optimism for BC is their coaching staff. Coach Spaziani does a great job up there, and they have a great running game with awesome linebackers, so that's going to give you a chance to win a lot of ball games. Causes for concern: lack of offensive explosion on the edge. They don't have the guys at the wide receiver spot that stretch the field, and that schedule is tough. And the biggest question is, can Chase Reddick do the job? But what we will learn is that the wide receivers will hold up their end of the ball game, and they will get to another bowl game. Next up is the Wolfpack. Reasons for optimism for North Carolina State: depth at the running back position, very good solid defense, and that schedule is conducive to them being successful. Now, causes for concern are the wide receivers. Who's going to be the guy to step up and replace Torrey Smith, and where's the pass rush going to come from? Now, what we will learn is that they will get an early and fast start, and that's going to lead to an outstanding season out there in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Clemson Tigers I have finishing 3rd. Reasons for optimism: overall, they have a lot of talent and a lot of speed. That's going to give you a shot to win each and every game. Causes for concerns: their consistency. They're not very consistent at all, and they have a quarterback question. Can Taj Boyd do the job? But what we will learn is Andre Ellington will garner some All-American honors, and they will win a big game on the road this season. Terrapins I have finishing 2nd. Reasons for optimism: quarterback Danny O'Brien, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Solid offensive line, and the defense is very active. Cause for concern: how well they can they improve that special teams unit, and that September schedule is brutal. But what we will learn is that head coach Randy Edsall was a great hire by the Terrapin AD department. These guys did a great job. He's going to have these guys playing lights out each and every week. And number 1, I had the Florida State Seminoles finishing. Reasons for optimism: they have a favorable schedule, veteran leadership on that squad, and they're strong defensively, and I like E.J. Manuel. Now, causes for concern: you look at that September 17 matchup versus Oklahoma, those linebackers have a question mark, and that interior offensive line has to improve. But what we will learn is that a national title appearance awaits the Seminoles if they can get past Oklahoma. Moving over to the Coastal Division, I have Duke finishing 6th. Reasons for optimism: you look at quarterback Renfree's improvement, that's going to be huge, and he has the talent at wide receivers that's going to help him make that progression. Cause for concern: that run game is very atrocious. They have to do a better job running the football, and total defense needs an overhaul. They got to do a better job defensively. But what we will learn is that the Duke Blue Devils are making slow improvement toward respectability. Next up is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Reasons for optimism: you look at that option game, you got to give yourself a shot when you run the option. Defensively, those linebackers are outstanding, and head coach Paul Johnson is one hell of a coach. Causes for concern: who's the playmaker at wide receiver? They need one to step up, and they have some defensive line questions that they got to get answered. But what we will learn is that quarterback Tevin Washington will impress all with his play. Next up is the Virginia Cavaliers. I have these guys finishing 4th. Reasons for optimism: Mike London, the head coach, has these guys headed in the right direction. And they have a lot of solid starters on their roster. Causes for concern: they have to find a quarterback who's going to step up and play the signal caller for that team. And the linebackers leaves a lot to be desired. But what we will learn is that the Cavaliers are a dark horse team to win the conference, and they will go to a bowl game this season. Next up is the University of Miami. Reasons for optimism for the Hurricanes: they have an explosive backfield led by those 2 talented tailbacks, Lamar Miller and Storm Johnson. Storm Johnson is going to be a star, and they have a very solid offensive line. Causes for concern is the quarterback play. Can Ja'Cory Harris get better? They have a tough schedule as well. Those defensive tackles got to improve. But what we will learn is that this team will surprise some, but next year will probably be their breakout season. I have the Hokies finishing number 2 in the Coastal Division. Reasons for optimism for Virginia Tech is that offensive line strength. They're very strong up front, best O-line in the ACC, and that backfield is a byproduct because of that, so they have a strong backfield as well. Causes for concern, they have to replace Tyrod Taylor. That guy was a great leader for that squad, but what we will learn is that their schedule plus their style of play could lead to these guys playing for a conference title. And number 1, I had the North Carolina Tar Heels. Reasons for optimism, that offensive line plus the speed on the edge at those wide receiver positions, and the front 4 of the defensive line can really get to the quarterback. Now, causes for concerns, that's secondary and the road schedule. They have a tough road slate, but what we will learn is that Butch Davis will get some consideration for Coach of the Year. For more college football previews, visit footballgameplan.com/collegefootball or visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. And listen to the Football Game Plan radio show, which airs Saturdays 11 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.